What's up, guys? Hope you're doing super well. Just wanted to make this video as a sort of an update on my situation. As you can see, I'm back here in Feira in Bahia at home, and yeah, I just wanted to give you guys an update on what's going on with my career, what happened with Amadense, what's going on, and why everything that happened. So, as an update, I just wanted to let you know that I essentially left. I'm going to be getting my release from the club. We're going to mutually agree to part ways, and there's a lot of reasons for that. But yeah, in this video, I'm going to explain everything that happened and why I had to take the decision that I had to take for the sake of my career, for the sake of my mental health, and for the sake of my reputation as a footballer. So there are two reasons. Essentially, there's two reasons why I decided to take the decision that I made. I did not take this decision lightly, not at all. I had a lot of conversations, a lot of talks with my agents, a lot of talks with my partner, a lot of talks with my family. And yeah, we just decided that this was probably the best thing for me going forward, especially because everything that's been going on. So yeah, reason number one. Reason number one that I ended up leaving Amadense is because of the complete lack of professionalism that existed within the club as a whole. So it is completely unprofessional when players that don't train play. It is completely unprofessional when there is not a meritocracy in place, and it is completely unprofessional when you're not allowed to question or talk to coaching staff. You're not allowed to ask what you can do in order to improve, and you end up getting punished for that. You're supposed to have and be able to have an open dialogue with coaching staff, with the president of the club, with whoever is in charge. You should be able to have an open dialogue in order to improve your situation. And that's what I wanted to do. And if I disagreed with someone or something, I would openly say it. Now, the main thing that aggrieved me throughout this time was just the question of meritocracy. Why do I say that? Because it does not make sense at all when there are players that don't go to training. They just go home for the whole week and they show up on a game day. And they're not training, they don't do anything whatsoever. They're posting on their social media that they're drinking, they're posting on their social media that they're partying, that they're doing whatever. And come game day, they're the ones that get the call. They're the ones that play. They're the ones that start. Whereas the players that are sacrificing time away from their family, time away from their friends, events, those guys that are sacrificing everything to train in a place that's foreign to you, to train as hard as you can, give 110% every single training session, to learn and do what the coach is asking of you, and to sacrifice all of that just for you to not get even so much as a look. Not only that, but the coaching staff actively saying you should be playing, you should be starting. But it's not our decision, it's the higher ups' decision to not allow you to play. And there could have been a lot of other off the field reasons. You know, I was the one that trained the most. I was the one that I didn't miss a single training session. I didn't. I didn't miss a single training session the whole time I was there. Even though I was impatient, I was angry, I was frustrated with the situation, but I still showed up every day an hour early. I still went to the gym whenever I had to, whenever I could, because that's how you take care of your body. As you can see, I'm fit, I'm feeling good, and mentally I was ready to compete. I was ready to compete. And what happened? I didn't so much as get a look. I would play maybe the final 2 minutes of a match. How am I supposed to show myself in the final 2 minutes? I'm sprinting here, there, left, right, and center, giving my all. Even the people in the crowd were saying, put that guy in. He is actually the one that's looking forward to playing. He's the one that's actually killing himself trying to play. training hard, doing everything that he needs to do. And what happened? Nothing. Not so much as a look. And there were a lot of speculations as to why. And honestly, if other guys were training better than I was, I would have kept my mouth completely shut. Completely shut. Why? Because they deserve it. But players wouldn't come to training. Players would fake injuries. Players were overweight, extremely overweight and unfit, and they would tire within 5 minutes of a match. Yet, the staff would insist upon keeping those players in games, and the results spoke for themselves. We lost big games. We lost the most important games. When we had to win to stay qualified, we ended up drawing. Players got red cards. Players were passing only backwards. Players were afraid to play. They were actively afraid to play. Players on the bench that were younger, that were some of the under 20 guys, actively were saying, please don't put me in this game because I don't want to play in this game. I'm afraid. Yet they would be put in the games, they wouldn't perform, and that's what happened. Reason number 2, and this is probably even bigger of a reason, while it's not really a personal reason. Well, it is a personal reason, but the reason number 1 was a personal reason. Reason number 2 is something that is extremely dangerous and extremely risky for any footballer, any player that is going to play in these levels. And that is match fixing, betting. This is a bit of a sensitive topic, so I'm going to try to be careful with what I say. But essentially, the club was affiliated in some way with match fixing. I'm not saying that the higher ups were affiliated. I am saying that there were players that were accused and were caught match fixing. I can't really say who these names are, but there were red cards that were received on purpose. There were goals that were let in on purpose. And this became quite common knowledge within the city. It became quite common knowledge to the point where our club president had to have a meeting with all of us, and he said, hey, this is what's going on. Such and such person got caught or is suspected to have gone through match fixing with other people, outside parties, whatever it may be. This is something that is extremely prevalent in modern day football. And it's extremely prevalent in Brazilian football, especially now with all these betting companies. You know, these betting companies that'll go to these small games. They'll go to these very small games and they'll say, oh, the odds are whatever to this player getting a red card, for this team winning, this team losing. And what these guys will do is, some of these crooks, some of these criminals, some of these bettors, is they'll put a bunch of money on something that has very low odds of happening, and they'll approach a player on that team because they have the connections. And so they'll approach a player on that team and they will go, I've put this bet, this is how much I'm projected to win. If you do this, I will give you a cut of the profits. And obviously that's illegal, and obviously that's extremely dangerous, and it is something that it's jail time. Not only is it jail time, but you can get banned for life from FIFA. Look at what happened to Sandro Tonali. Look at what happened with Lucas Paquetá, or what might happen to Lucas Paquetá, because that stuff is very common. Even in the highest level, it is common to happen. But I could not stand idly by and hear about these things and see these guys playing constantly. They were getting playing time over me, these guys. And I was there trying to be honest, trying to train as hard as I could, being an honest footballer, an honest professional footballer. And this is the environment that I've been put in. And this is what I'm having to go against. In my own team, I have to go against people. Yes, if it's friendly competition or if it's competition to fight for a spot, that's perfectly normal. But if I'm going to be fighting against not only corruption, but match fixing as well. I am not going to put my name on the line in order to play a couple of games, maybe score a couple of goals, get a little bit of match highlights. For what? All of a sudden, I could get caught up in this whole mess, and I'm not even affiliated with any of this. I completely disassociated from those players. I completely disassociated from that group of guys who were potentially doing these things. And talks around the city are saying that even some other shady things that were going on could have been a part of it. Now, I'm going to take people's word for it and say that that was just, bad decisions being made on certain people, but I can't make that risk. I cannot take that risk. Okay. I've got a good agency behind me now. I have got years of European experience. I've gotten now quite a few teams in Brazil under my belt. I have sacrificed everything, everything to get to this point that I'm at today. Everything. I've sacrificed time away from family. I've sacrificed going to funerals. I've sacrificed going to weddings. I've sacrificed going to parties. I've sacrificed huge moments in my life. I have sacrificed getting a higher education to pursue this sport. All for what? For me to be in an environment where, one, I'm not going to get playing time, even though other players are overweight and not deserving to play, and yet they play, and they know it. They know it as well. They know that they shouldn't be playing, but they play anyways. And it's just the decision of the higher ups for whatever reason. I'm not going to speculate on reasons, but they're undeserving to play. They're unfit to play. They can't even run for 45 minutes, yet they're playing. And then not only that, but I also have to deal with match fixing. No, I'm not going to be a part of an organization like that. I'm not going to be a part of anything like that. I just cannot do it. I have I'm I've worked too hard to get to this point. And as you guys can see, as my subscribers can see, I'm not at the point where I want to be at yet. Obviously, I want to go to a much higher level. I want to go to a much higher direction. I want to take this thing to a whole new level, just like how I want to take this channel to a whole new level. But I can't do that in this environment. I can't do that if there's no meritocracy. I can't give 110% every single training session if I know that no matter what I do, I'm just not going to get looked at. I'm just not going to get a nod. And it was obvious that it was happening. It was extremely obvious that it was happening to the point where the coaching staff, the interim coaching staff, left due to some of those decisions. That's how deep this thing goes. That's how deep this thing goes. And it was extremely problematic for me. It was messing with me mentally because despite my hard work, despite my discipline, because I never stopped training, I wasn't like those guys that would I don't know, that would wake up at noon and that would do nothing all day, barely get any training in. They wouldn't, even during team training, they would sit out. They would sit out of team training, claiming that they had pains. Well, of course you had pains. You stayed in bed all day. Your muscles are atrophying. Of course you have pain. Be professional. Be a professional. But alas, I can't control what they do. So I'm not going to tell them, hey, get up and train. I'm just going to get up and train myself. And I would do that. And it didn't matter. It really didn't matter. Why? Because no matter what I did, they didn't look at me. They didn't care. They saw in training sessions that I was scoring goals, that I was getting assists, that I was playing well, that I was confident, that I was beating players 1v1, 2v1, 3v1. I trained like a beast, man. Honestly, this was one of the most confident that I had felt in a long time when I got into this club. I felt so confident and I was doing so well in training sessions, and they beat me down psychologically over and over and over and over again. How? By giving players a chance that didn't even train, that didn't even care. Some of them weren't even in the city that we were located in. Why? Because they were always at home doing whatever, drinking, partying, and they would come and they would play. Welcome to Brazilian football. That's how backwards this place is. And that's why we probably won't win a World Cup for a long time, guys. I'm saying this as a Brazilian, Iranian American. I've seen what discipline means. I've seen what it all means, man. It's not it here in Brazil, man. It's not. Especially at the club I was at. It's really not it. Add the fact that the match fixing was happening. I had to get out of there. And I cannot risk my reputation for a club that won't show any sense of loyalty, that won't show any sense of rewarding of hard work, that won't show me any sense of fairness. I just can't. I can't. They showed me nothing. I gave them 200% every single training session. I gave them 200% every single game. Every single off day, I gave them 200%. And what did they give me? 40% at most. At most. Welcome to the football industry, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of times clubs will take advantage of players like you and me that actually want to win, that actually want to succeed. And I'm not gonna handle that anymore, man. I'm not gonna deal with that anymore. There's a lot of clubs that'll value a player like me. That'll value a player that you don't have to tell him to get up and train. He will just get up and train. You don't have to tell me to train, guys. I'll be training on my own. That's how I've always been. I love training. Training is my bread and butter. But with these guys, we're training. If you ask them to come and train with you, or if you ask them to go to team training, it was as if you were stabbing them in the heart. I don't want to go. I'm in pain. Yeah, you've been in bed all day, man. Come on, do something with your life. I'm not saying this to be harsh. I'm not saying this to be mean. I'm not trying to backbite on anybody. This is just the reality. This is the reality of the situation. You know, if those guys worked anywhere near as hard as I worked, we'd probably be in a promotion playoff right now. If the club was a meritocracy, we'd probably be in a promotion playoff right now. That's how it is. But alas, that's not how things went. Players got caught match fixing as well, and the investigation is undergoing. It's pending. It's going on as we speak. And yeah, be careful, guys. Be careful with your careers. Be careful with who you trust. Be careful with who you support. I want to thank the club either way for opening their doors for me, because it was a time where, I did need a club, and they did, honor that part of their word, right? They honored that part of their word. They opened their doors for me. They signed me, and that's just how it is. I mean, it didn't work out how I was hoping it would work out, but I also was under the impression that things would be a bit more professional and a bit more fair, and they weren't, not in the slightest. That being said, I do have a lot of good things to say about the club too. There are people behind the scenes that were fantastic to me and to other players that left and to other players that are still there. They provide a lot of support behind the scenes. So to those people, they know who they are. I want to thank them, immensely, because they really did provide a lot of support. They did. And they were fantastic and they were phenomenal, and they were one of the reasons why I didn't leave earlier, because they told me to hold on. They told me to hold on, to be patient, but you can only be patient for so long. I can only be patient for so long. And when the things that happened to me happened, those things should never happen in a player's career. They shouldn't. They should never happen. And with this match fixing business, I can't be anywhere near affiliated with that kind of stuff. And I'm not, obviously, but I can't be near that. I can't be. It is just too problematic. It's too risky. I've worked too hard to get into the position that I've gotten for players that have nothing to do with me, that I barely even have a friendship with, to compromise that position with me. And so I wanted to make this video just to clear the air, to make things very, very transparent as to why I left, as to what happened, why I didn't play, why this, why that. I got obviously a couple of minutes here and there, but I played out of position. I played wherever they needed me to play, and they showed me no respect whatsoever. They did not respect me 1 inch. They didn't give me an ounce of respect. And how am I supposed to work in an institution where I don't feel respected? They even called me badly behaved at one point. How am I the one that's badly behaved? I'm the one that would run and go to the gym right after games. I'm the one that would, on an off day, go to the gym or go and train on my own. I'm the one that got to training an hour early every single day, and I did my own routine, my own prehab work, got ready for training, got mentally ready for training. I'm not the one that went sleeping around with every single girl in that town. I'm not the one that a day before a game got pissed drunk and fell into a trash bin and had it all recorded and put on an Instagram account. I'm not the one that did that. I'm not the one that went out and did karaoke and partied the day before a game. I'm not the one that ditched training. I'm not the one that ditched training. I'm not the one that left in order to go back to his hometown without telling anyone, not training the whole week only to show up on a game day and act like everything's perfectly fine. That wasn't me. None of that was me. I was the guy that stood in my own corner and trained and prayed and made YouTube videos and was frustrated because I was doing all of the right things, yet I didn't get treated like I was doing any of the right things. Do you think Cristiano Ronaldo, for example, with all the work he puts in, all of the extra work he puts in, do you think he would accept being on the bench at a lowly club when other players are not doing 25% of what he does? No, he wouldn't. He would not accept that. And he would not accept that, and he would be completely justified. I'm not saying I'm Cristiano Ronaldo, because I'm not. But with my work ethic and with the amount of work that I put in, I should have been treated better than what I was. I should have been given more than what I was. I'm not saying that I deserved it, because in football, there's no such thing as deserving something. But you have to get out what you put in life. In life, that's usually what happens. You get out what you put in. But here, I was putting in everything, and I was getting out nothing. Nothing. I can't be in a situation like that. Not at this stage of my career. I've played too many clubs in Europe for that. I've played too many clubs in Brazil for that. I've played with too many top level professionals for that. And I'm not saying that to be arrogant. I'm not saying that to elevate my level. I'm not doing any of that. I'm just saying the facts. You have to value yourself. Whether I like it or not, I am a product in this football industry. And you have to treat yourself like a prime product. And what does that mean? That means taking care of your body, training as more often as you can, eating right, sleeping right, therapy, getting your mental health right. I mean, all of that. If you're not doing that, you don't belong in this industry. Yes, talent is important, but talent doesn't get you anywhere, man. Talent will get you maybe 25% of the way there. The other 75% is the discipline and the work you put in. These guys are relying on talent, and I'm not gonna lie, they're talented. They're great players. Some of them. Some of them are not great, or not even good. Some of them are pretty good, but it doesn't matter because they can be talented, but they're ridiculously overweight. They're ridiculously lazy. They don't put in the work. They don't care to put in the work because they know that they don't have to put in the work. They'll play on the weekend. What message does that send a guy like me that's disciplined, that works hard, and has the talent, but especially works hard and is disciplined? What kind of message does that send? I'm not saying any of this to be arrogant. I promise I'm not. But it's just the truth. Thank you guys for listening to my rant and for understanding why I made the decisions that I made. I hope you guys can support that. And I will be trying to make an update video soon on what my next steps are. I really don't know. I'm not in the right headspace, to do that because whether I like it or not, I feel like a mission incomplete. I went there for a reason. I went there for a mission. I had my own personal objectives as well as team objectives, and none of it got accomplished. And even though it wasn't my fault at all, I still have that feeling of I went there and my mission is incomplete. And so I need to recover and get back on the horse, so to speak. And yeah, I'll let you guys know what I'll be doing. But subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you guys for all your support on my most recent video and for all the support on the other videos. I appreciate you guys. I hope you can understand the decision that I'm making and why I'm making it. And I'll let you know the developments soon. Thank you. Peace.